Yeah, so let's get into this. So I'm not too worried about this story, but I do want to hear what you have to say, Ewok. We've talked about it in private a little bit. So there's been some efforts this weekend. Hey, shout out, obviously not that he, needs our approval, but Gary Woods funding Jim in one of those kind of mastermind groups or whatever, some Twitter space with the Cardones the other day where you kind of get to step up and pitch something. And I think he has a history with at least Gary Cardone, maybe Grant too, I don't know. But he talked about Hex and PulseChain in there the other day and made a nice elevator pitch and it intrigued at least Gary. Grant, I don't know if he actually has any interest in crypto. It doesn't really seem like he totally does, but
I don't think so.
But nonetheless, I mean, he did talk to those guys, and funding Jim has been the guy that has been the bridge crosser of bridge crossers, really. And I saw him. Did you see the stream with Lit is back? Yeah, he was just on the other day with funding Jim and RG3. It was a really good stream, actually. And Gary was just talking about like kind of pitching those guys, and he put his money where his mouth is and basically said that he would match with his own investment whatever they put in, which was really cool. But anyway, do you think that cause then we see today like confirmation supposedly that like Gary Cardone .eth, I don't know,
Right.
address like bridges into PulseChain unless somebody just like named something that I don't know, but it seemed like it was verifiably like linked to one of his other accounts. I didn't get to the bottom of it, but do you think it is legit, and what do you make of it? Because this kind of I certainly love like doing the bridge crossing thing and getting people outside of our ecosystem in. I think that's awesome, and I love that it's happening. But I also don't want to, we're not necessarily waiting with bated breath for like, appealing to authority of other people to get into the ecosystem,
Right. Right.
But I hope he's in, and I hope he likes it. But yeah, what do you make of it?
Yeah, exactly the same. I think it's him. I think it's, unless somebody went through the major, story of buying, first of all, buying the .eth address, and then they must have had a lot of money because I think they put either $1 or $2 million over. I think it was 2 million by using that one protocol that I hadn't heard of before. It just kind of it takes away a lot of the risk by sending it in different transactions a little bit safer. But yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is when guys like this kind of come in, they're going to look for a profit a lot sooner. Him and his brother are all about 10x. If they can get a 10x, they're happy. They're not going to stick around. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to judge before it happens. But historically, people like that will, they'll take a gain and they'll get right back out. So until he becomes a believer, which I'll believe when I see, but as far as that goes, it's just another investor. How solid of an investor? Will they stick through thick and thin? Probably not.
Got a lot of money though. I mean, there's a lot of capital there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, all it's going to do is provide a green candle going up and a big red candle coming down. So, that's just one of the things that if you're going to ask for big money to come in, prepare to see it go right back out after they've made some profits. So, it's not like we have a bunch of, when there's a big whale sell, how it divides it up into a much larger group of holders. It spreads it out across the network, which is nice. But again, time will tell. I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting for guys like that who have the reach. They do have a very big network. And if they have a good time, they're probably going to tell their friends, hey, guys, you should come over here and check this out. Gas fees are nothing. There's all these people building. It's basically a self-funded community that has done all of this without the grants, without the, VC backing and things like that. They dig that kind of thing. So hopefully it works out in that way where just the word of mouth itself can expand to some other heavy hitters that do become largely involved. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we need
Right.
instead of a jump in and jump out kind of group.
I'm with you 100%. Yeah, it could spread like wildfire if because it's not just it's not like it would just end with the Cardones. I mean, like they obviously have a wide network as well. And if they trust
Exactly.
Gary and they, see I think a lot with a lot of these business guys, that have the history they do and run great businesses and everything, when they see a guy like Richard Hart and get familiar with him and see the way they act, I think that the way he acts, I think they see that like this is a guy that I want to align myself with, contrary to what a lot of like, I don't know, virtue signaling crypto Twitter says, where it's like, oh, this guy's obviously a scammer and all this stuff. I think real businessmen that are authentic and everything are able to see the forest through the trees with a guy like Richard Hart, and
Yep.
actually it appeals to them, and that includes a guy like Donald Trump himself with, B Roots going to Mar-a-Lago and everything and pitching him on PulseChain and everything before. We could be looking
Yeah.
at the next president of the United States, potentially knowing something about PulseChain and
Right.
launching some new Trump NFTs on them. So, yeah, we'll wait
That'd
for
be
those.
cool.
Yeah, Trump Ramaswamy 2024. Could be interesting.
Could be.
Like as I'm looking on Twitter, it's like that union is forming right now, it seems like. So I'm sure much to the delight of many out there. Yeah, so things are looking good there for the Cardones. We're happy to see them into the ecosystem if they truly are. And even if they're not, hey, we'd love to have you guys aboard. I think you'd like the product. So